All right, hello and welcome to the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. I am Scott and I'm here for the build-up show to Elimination Chamber. It's going to be a good one, guys. We're back right after this.
Welcome to the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. On this channel, we bring you some great content from inside and outside of the squared circle. We will go through and offer some in-depth analysis of the biggest events of the year, as well as bringing you exclusive interviews with some of the industry's biggest names. There will also be live show reviews, in-depth features, and podcasts. So make sure you give that subscribe button a slam so you don't miss any of the action.
All right, hello and welcome everyone. We are here for the build-up show to Elimination Chamber, and it's going to be a good show. I think I've got it. I feel it in my bones. I think it's going to be an enjoyable one. It's going to be a stadium show, of course, there in Perth, Australia. And while people are a little bit concerned about the card, I've got a good feeling it's going to deliver. Now, the card itself, again, it's quite a small one. It's not quite what people expected. I do think in the past few days, they've done a good job at finally starting to promote it. But yeah, it did seem like it had the backseat, didn't it, for a while? And of course, that happens at this time of year with WrestleMania coming up, all the kind of shenanigans with The Rock coming back. But it has been a bit of a slow build, but slowly but surely, we've been building towards it this past week, and we've got some big matches to talk about here tonight as well. Well, this morning, I say tonight. I'm so used to doing a build-up show in the ridiculous hours here in the UK, but we are at, 9:07, and the show itself starts at 10 a.m. here in the UK. So, yeah, more Australia shows, please, Papa H. It has been really exciting lately to have all these kind of international shows, and I think that's one of the biggest things that's kind of getting me excited about this one is the fact that it is in the States. That's not a shade on the States, don't get me wrong. Big fan of those United States, and being over there for PLE's done that in the past myself. But when we get this opportunity to shake up the kind of time zones and things like that, it is quite exciting. Crown Jewel is on at a decent time here in the UK, but Elimination Chamber, very early in the morning for us, even earlier in the morning for those joining us in America. Thank you so much for joining us live, by the way, if you are one of those out there in the States. But yeah, just kind of the vibe, the atmosphere is very different, isn't it? You know, when we've got these big stadium shows, and yeah, I think it's going to be a good one. Anyway, let's go through the card. We've got the Judgment Day, where you've got Senor Money in the Bank. Well, will that play a part tonight? We'll see about that. Damian Priest teaming up with his buddy Finn Bálor against Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne. Now, we've done our predictions already, guys. If you haven't seen them, we've done them just a few days ago, and we've gone through basically who we think is going to win the matches. But I'll touch on what I think as of kind of an hour, not even that, before the show as well, just because you know, things change on the go home shows, and I'll be honest, none of my predictions have changed. I do think it's quite a predictable PLE. That's why I'm kind of hopeful that it's going to be one that is you know, full of moments. So as I say, we've got the tag title match. In my opinion, and I think everybody else that predicted it, is looking like it's going to be a retention. Now, I do think that this team is being built up in the sense of Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne. But I'll be honest, it doesn't seem like the time to take it off the Judgment Day. And we look at all the graphics around us, purple. And it's the same thing for the Elimination Chamber's official graphics as well. And it wasn't the case at first. It was all blue. It all got turned to purple. So I do think that's leaning towards Judgment Day. And I do think it's going to be a big night for them. Big, I say night. I guess it is night in Australia. We'll go with that. We'll carry on with that. Talking to Judgment Day, though, we've got, of course, the poster child for this event overall, Rhea Ripley, defending her Women's World Championship against Australian-born Nia Jax, that's right. Australian-born. Australian versus Australian, it would seem. I'm surprised they didn't lean into that in the promos, by the way. I'm surprised Nia didn't kind of make, I guess, jokes and kind of... maybe she will tonight. Maybe they'll get some mic time because, again, there's a lot of time to fill on this show. So we'll see how that goes. But I do think this match is going to be straightforward as far as the result goes. And I think Rhea Ripley is going to be walking out with what she walks in with, the Women's World Championship. And it would be silly if she doesn't, right? It would be, in my opinion at least, as much as Nia Jax has been entertained since she's come back, I do think she's improved quite a bit. I know it's kind of cool to hate Nia Jax, but I've always seen potential in her. Even back in her NXT days, I've always thought she had something to give that was different to the rest of the women on the roster. And again, I do think since she's come back into WWE that she's delivered quite well. And she's played up to that. You know, she's played up to what I think she knows and WWE know is that people aren't so kind to Nia Jax. So I think it's done really, really well. And this is the kind of, you know, challenger that every now and then you look at and you think, hold on, maybe they could do it. Maybe they could become champion. But then this kind of, you know, awkward point between the Rumble and WrestleMania usually means no, it's not going to happen. Because sometimes they shake it up. And we mentioned it on our predictions show the other day. Will they shake it up? Will they have surprises? And I can't see it in some of these matches, but you never know with WWE. You never know with the road to WrestleMania. Maybe it will kind of have a bit of a shakedown. But in my opinion, Rhea Ripley surely is coming away with that title. And there are loads of reasons for that. Number one, Rhea Ripley is on top. She's the most kind of, I guess, focused woman on the roster. Well, they're focusing on her. I'm saying, well, she's so focused, I'm sure the rest of them as well. But she's the one that has all the attention, right? And that was a big part of why I thought she shouldn't have won the Rumble last year, because it was all about her and the Judgment Day. It was nothing to do with the women's roster. And I think, I'll be honest, a year later, it kind of feels the same way. They've done better in recent months. You know, they've used her in these kind of storylines, but then you've got this awkwardness of where she's pretty much a babyface. People want to cheer Rhea Ripley, and it's been happening for a while. Judgment Day themselves going for a bit of a change. Of course, they've had a bit of a comedy storyline lately, of course, with R-Truth, which has been fantastic, but I don't think it's something they ever expected to happen. But that's what we've been seeing with the Judgment Day. Rhea Ripley is kind of splintered off onto her own little kind of storyline again with Nia Jax, and yeah, Nia's looked like a threat. But realistically, again, Rhea is on top of the world. She is the most kind of prominently featured female wrestler. She is the champion at a time where the title doesn't really need to go anywhere else. She is going into WrestleMania. And then, of course, the big kind of thing involved with this prediction is the fact that she is there in her home country of Australia. Now, yes, there was a time where you were booked to lose in your home country. I don't think that's really the case anymore. But we do have a build up, well, a preview. That's what I'm trying to say. A preview. No, that's not even what I'm trying to say. A pre-show match that we need to predict on this preview. There we go. We got there eventually as well. And spoiler alert, I'm not sure that the hometown girl is going to win on that one, but we'll get to that in just a moment. Of course, big matches to promote, to kind of predict and dive into tonight. We've talked about the tag match, we've talked about the women's title, but of course we've got two huge Elimination Chamber matches. Now, it is quite weird though that none of these Elimination Chamber matches are for championships. It is always quite odd when you work that hard to be in a title match in the future, which won't be as grueling. I know technically you could say, well, you know, you're facing the champions, a hard thing to do and all that stuff. And yes, at the same time, in the Rumble, you have to go through 29 other people as well. So you could say, well, it's kind of similar in that sense. But I think they need to be a bit clearer with the chamber. In recent years, it has become kind of an afterthought, I guess, in some ways. And that's not great. The first half of the year is so stacked. It is so loaded. I would prefer to see the chamber used as something that maybe gets you a SummerSlam title match. Something like that, I think, would be a little bit better. But hey, we've got it here. It's going to be a good show, I'm sure. But again, the two big matches that we need to be talking about are the women's #1 contendership match and, of course, the men's #1 contendership match as well. Guys, let us know what you think is going to happen to, again, I keep going to say tonight, don't I? But it is today for us in England. But wherever you join us from around the world, we'd love to hear what you think is going down today. There we go. It's really hard to get that out. But would love to know what you think is going to happen. Again, we've got two big chamber matches to talk about. We've done our predictions already, but I'll let you know what everybody's been saying on the main preview and prediction show as far as what I think's going to go down here. And we're locked in. We can't change our predictions. We go WrestleMania to WrestleMania. So hopefully, I don't really know where the table is at the moment. Hopefully, I'm doing quite well with that. But let's start talking about some of these chamber matches in a moment. But first of all, let's talk about what I think is surely going to turn into a match, right? In some shape or form. We've got Grayson Waller with the Grayson Waller effect. And his guests are Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins. Now, something is happening, right? There's got to be some sort of shenanigans. There's no way. There are so many variables for this. But #1, right, we've got Grayson Waller, of course, Australian. Got to be kind of interesting to see how the audience treat him, because when you're at home, you're a baby face, right? But then you're going up against, in this segment, the biggest baby face in the entire industry in Cody Rhodes. Now, Cody Rhodes has done a great job of kind of getting people on his side, because we look back to last year where, in my opinion, he should have finished the story, and we'll see how we go with WrestleMania. Stick with us on the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. We'll be covering WrestleMania in depth, of course. But I was worried that last year, after not finishing the story, people would get a little tired, right? Then they did the storyline with Brock, and they kind of sent him all over the place. And eventually, we're getting back to exactly where we were last year. Now, I'm not happy with the fact he won the Rumble. I do think that he should have earned his kind of spot at WrestleMania today. Again, very confusing, at the Elimination Chamber. But they didn't think that was necessary. They had him win the Rumble again, which, again, a little annoying to me. As much as I love Cody and I do want him to finish the story and end Roman's reign, that's not the way WWE were looking at it. So he wins the Royal Rumble, and he is now on the way to WrestleMania. But he's done, again, a really good job at kind of keeping people on his side at a time where we are looking back on things going, we did this already. And they managed to keep people invested and kind of interested in what was going on. I think in that key period, the first 3 months after WrestleMania were key, when he had that storyline with Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes had storyline with Brock Lesnar. And now we've kind of circled back to where I think we all expected Cody to be. And then on top of that, you've got, the little kind of problem of The Rock. And it's been really interesting seeing what they've done with The Rock, bringing him back into the fold. I do think I'm in the camp of those that believe that The Rock was supposed to face Roman Reigns one-on-one, especially after what happened with CM Punk going out of injury. And Cody was, in my opinion, surely going to be shoved aside. Now, that's seemingly not the case, right? Cody Rhodes has challenged Roman Reigns, and that's where my concerns come up, because I think, well, they weren't even going to do it. I think, oh, maybe he's not going to win the title. And in my opinion, guys, he needs to win the title at WrestleMania. I don't want to get kind of dramatic with it. You know, remember that promo from Triple H a few years ago going, oh, I'm going to get on the internet and complain with my friend Mark, you know, and I'm going to cancel the WWE Network. I don't want to get silly with it, but honestly, it will be a massive blow. It will make me feel like, and it won't happen because I'll continue to watch it because I have to. I'm addicted to the old graps, and I'm a big wrestling fan, of course. And on this channel, we do have to cover it as well. So it is a job in that sense. But I won't wanna. Let's put it that way, right? I won't want to carry on watching if Cody Rhodes doesn't win at WrestleMania. I think he needs to win. I think this, because if he doesn't, it devalues so much that's already kind of happened. It devalues last year, number one, which again, in my opinion, should never have been the case. He should have won it last year. It devalues, in my opinion, Roman's title reign. I think at the moment, as much as, you know, things are being hyped up, saying, you know, Roman's had the title for this long and whatever else, that's only important when someone beats you. That's not important in the gap in between. Let's be honest, guys. Let's talk about, I don't know, SummerSlam to Royal Rumble. Did you care about the bloodline? No. Let's be honest. It has been awful. Now, can it be saved? Yes. Can it be made to be important again? Yes. But this was my fear this time around last year when we were heading into the height of the bloodline and we had Sami Zayn. And that's my kind of concern here, that if we don't do it this time around, we're going to kind of waste so much. We're going to waste this year and the whole situation that they've worked around with Rock. We're going to waste, we would have wasted last year. We would have wasted Sami Zayn's incredible rise that I think any other time you pull the trigger on that, you give him the world title. And also Cardiff, you know, Drew McIntyre. Yes, he's not Welsh, he is Scottish, but still, they were really playing up the whole kind of home turf situation. We're attached by a body of land, so there we go. It was the UK pay-per-view, and it was the opportunity, in my opinion, at the time, to give it to Drew, and it didn't happen. We were there in Cardiff covering it for you lovely people on this channel, and many of you would have seen at the time just how disappointed we were with that result. Not just because he's the hometown guy, but also just because it just felt right. I felt like Roman should have been losing the title, and the fact he didn't, I thought, oh, something bigger is coming. And then it was seeming like Cody Rhodes. And then on the way to that, we had Sami, and I thought, well, are they going to get giddy with this? Are they going to pull the trigger? And he didn't do that either. And then Cody Rhodes was surely the one to win it. And guess what, guys? Spoiler alert. He's still, what is it? 24th February 2024. Sitting without a world title in WWE. So a real shame. Now, I think he's got to win it again going into WrestleMania. I've got all around the houses there, but what I'm trying to say is he's on the show tonight, and I do think there's going to be some sort of shenanigans. Again, you've got a hometown guy of Grayson Waller, and then you've got Cody, and he's backup of Seth Rollins. Remember, these guys aren't fans of each other. I saw a little rumor going around on the old X recently that maybe Seth's going to turn at Mania. I hope that's not the case because it's so convoluted at the moment. There's so many stories to tell with Roman Reigns, with The Rock. We're finishing the story with 2 nights. We don't need that, right? But it makes sense of Seth's character. It's the kind of thing you can see happening. But anyway, I don't think that's happening tonight. That would be crazy if that was the case. But we've got Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes on the Grayson Waller effect. And as I say, I think it's going to be a difficult one for babyfaces there because you've got Grayson Waller, who is just going to be over. Let's be honest. That's how I started this whole Cody Rhodes rant. I remember now, but Cody Rhodes, has done well to get people on his side. And I think it's always a danger when you do stuff like this. And it's a danger that people go, oh, Cody, I'm bored of it. And that's what I mean about last year. But they've done a great job. Cody's done a great job himself of getting people won over. And you know what? The Rock thing has given them a new lease of life because it's become that Daniel Bryan scenario that we had 10 years ago. You know, it's become that storyline where you kind of want to go against the kind of the corporate way it seems they're booking things. So I think it's done him wonders, this whole Rock scenario, even though it has been confusing, even though it has been kind of messy at times. I do think it's done him wonders. Now, Cody's going to be there. And again, I think it's going to get physical, right? It's got to be, right? Grayson Waller, I do think this could turn into a match. Now, Seth Rollins is on the injured reserve list, as Jimmy Uso once said. Now, he's not doing anything, right? He might get a little physical. This might be the way to kind of get him back into the swing of things, but he's not having a match. If this turns into a match, in my opinion, I don't see Seth getting involved. Could it be a one-on-one with Grayson Waller and Cody? Yes. Now, why would they not promote that? That's a confusing thing. Maybe because it don't make sense as far as story goes. And I think if they had a match, right, let's say Raw 2 weeks ago, they announced Grayson Waller versus Cody Rhodes. Let's be honest, guys. We'd be looking at this thinking, it's a house show. You know, like it'd be just thrown together. If they kind of randomly do it, I think that's better because you're not devaluing the PLE by saying, oh, we've just got this random story thrown on, unrelated to what's going on on TV. Whereas live, and I guess to be fair, there is no real reason to do a Grayson Waller effect other than the fact we're in Australia. But live, at least they can have that story and turn it into something, and it'll be exciting for those there in Perth to watch Cody Rhodes wrestle live. Now, could we get Bronson Reed popping up here as well? Dan was mentioning on our prediction show just a few days ago. Apparently, his partner is ready to pop, have a baby. It could have happened by now. Sorry, guys, I haven't kept up with that side of the industry. But basically, if that is the case, and he's kind of mind is elsewhere, where I completely understand. But if things work out time-wise and he could show up tonight, that would be great because it is kind of well, I guess it's worrying if you don't have an Australian on the show, right? If you're Australian and you're working for the company and there is a PLE for the first time ever in your home country and you're not on the show, there's not a lot of stock in you going forward, surely, right? Now, I don't think it's the time to shoehorn people in just for the sake of it, but there are ways to kind of make it work. And a big part of that as well is the pre-show. We are going to see Indy Hartwell on the show with Candice LeRae versus the Kabuki Warriors. Now, this is going to be an interesting one because I don't really know where we're going with this one. This is something that makes me think, hometown crowd. Maybe that's what we're getting here. Maybe we're getting the pop. But again, it feels like gone are the days where you make the hometown person look bad, but they can't all win, right? Spoiler alert, Rhea Ripley's going to win, but Grayson Waller's kind of got to look good, right? Probably not win a match if he is in a match, but then maybe he does. Yeah, it's hard to tell. But Indy Hartwell, I don't know. I don't think it's necessary for her to win a match. I think it's more about just being on the card. Her and Candice LeRae, I think, will be a bit of a crowd boost. And usually with these pre-show matches, you think, well, the babyface has to win, right? Because it gets the crowd going, it gets people excited, gets them in the mood. I don't think that's the case here because I think the Kabuki Warriors, as part of Damage Control, need to kind of look good steaming into WrestleMania. We all know, it's no secret, that the storyline with Bayley winning the opportunity for WrestleMania at the Royal Rumble has been a bit of a, I don't know, how do we say this? Disappointment. Let's just say it. It's been a disappointment. And it's not Bailey's fault. It's not the fault of the Kabuki Warriors and Damage Control. It is the fault of those booking, because it hasn't been featured as a prominent storyline. Now, we saw a little while ago WrestleMania XL kickoff show, and of course, a big thing behind that was the Cody Rhodes storyline, as we mentioned earlier on, with The Rock and Roman Reigns. But you know who didn't feature on that? The Women's Royal Rumble winner. And it's terrible. It's terrible that is the case. The biggest storyline in the women's division going forward is something that isn't even concrete at the moment. Yes, I do think Rhea's going to win. And also, again, spoiler, I think Becky's going to win the Chamber as well. But that's the biggest storyline. And it's not even confirmed. So Bailey's really got the kind of wrong end here. It's not great. She is an incredible performer. And we always go back to on this channel how in the kind of strange times of the pandemic era, she was one of the MVPs. It was her, and it was Drew, and it was the Hurt Business, right? And then when we came back to having audiences, I don't think she was even on that WrestleMania. Crazy. Then she gets injured. She comes back with Damage Control. And it feels like finally, you know, she deserves to be a Royal Rumble winner. When we look at the history of women's wrestlers, she, in my opinion, is... it's hard to do the old Mount Rushmore because there are 4 horsewomen, and you think they kind of all got to be on it, right? But then you start looking a little bit further and you think, but what about this one? What about this one from this era, previous eras as well? But she, either way, is one of the greatest of all time when it comes to the women's division. Now, again, she's not really been kind of portrayed that way. This is the age-old classic storyline of turning babyface against your heel team, right? We had it with Evolution, the old, you know, thumbs up, thumbs down, Batista. We had it with Batista and Randy Orton getting out of the grips of Papa H himself. And it felt like that's what we're rehashing here. And it is what we're rehashing here. Don't get me wrong. We are still seeing that very storyline play out in front of us. But the issue is, it's not had a prominent role. Again, we know there's a lot going on in WWE at the moment. It's a confusing time. And again, this chamber build has been a bit lackluster. Leading into WrestleMania, it can be challenging anyway. But the fact that she's not had a prominent role, in my opinion, is it's a crying shame. It really is. It's really disappointing. She is someone, again, as I mentioned a moment ago, who really deserves to be in that top spot. And it's not like, you know, let's look at the men's division with Cody Rhodes. It looked like his place was going to be taken over because we had CM Punk come back. We had The Rock come back. It's not even a scenario like that. Like, we've not got Lita jumping in. We haven't got Victoria coming back. We've literally got the same storyline that we've been playing out for the past, you know, what is it? At least 2 years, with maybe a year and a half with that SummerSlam return for her teammates at SummerSlam with Damage Control. But it's just not been kind of promoted that well. And again, it is a crying shame in my opinion. I really do enjoy Bailey's work and the rest of the gang as well. The rest of Damage Control, I think it's a good story, but they just haven't been given that position. Anyway, what I was saying, she is on the pre-show. I think, right? I think she might show up at the end of this match. I think the Kabuki Warriors are going to win. That's what I'm locking in as my prediction, guys. Kabuki Warriors win so that the rest of Damage Control can come out and start beating up the hometown gal of Indy Hartwell and her buddy from the way, Candice LeRae. Now, the way to kind of counteract that, of course, is to bring out the big baby face heading into WrestleMania, even if she isn't booked that well. Bayley. Now, I think Bayley should come out and make the save. Now, this is all well and good, right? Until we start kind of looking back on it and going, hold on a minute. Again, this is a pre-show match. And will that do more harm than good? You know, as far as perception, at least. If Bayley makes a save in Australia, big moment, right? Babyface heading into WrestleMania, makes a save for the hometown gal. Great, right? That's the kind of thing you want to be doing when you build into WrestleMania. But on the pre-show, I don't know. Again, I guess it gives that perception that Bayley, like, she's not even on the show. She's not advertised. Like, how crazy is this? The women's Royal Rumble winner wasn't on the WrestleMania press conference, barely been featured prominently on TV, and isn't on the PLE heading to WrestleMania. We're well and truly on that road to WrestleMania, and she's not featured. So I think the best thing to do is make her be a surprise, get the fans behind it, get the fans behind her in the sense that she's a babyface, she's saving another babyface, and it is also a hometown wrestler. But again, it just brings up that kind of perception issue that if you look at it and you go, she's on the pre-show. You know, she's not advertised, and then she shows up to make the save on the pre-show. It's not a good look. Even if that spot, in my opinion, is perfect. I think that's exactly what we need to be doing to kind of give Bayley that little bit of steam going into WrestleMania. Talking of steam, I am now going to divert your attention to the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel trailer. Going to let you know all about what's going on here on this channel. We are the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel, and as you can imagine, we cover pro wrestling, whether it be WWE, AEW, New Japan, or TNA, or maybe something beyond that as well. We have interviews with wrestlers on this very channel, so subscribe if you haven't already. If you're back here from joining us another time, we really do appreciate it, whether you're joining live or on demand. This show is all about kind of hyping you up and hyping us up for the PLE, and we're usually doing it about 11 p.m. This is quite strange to be doing it just after 9:30 a.m. here in the UK. But the idea, again, is to get us all hyped up for this show, and I do think it's going to be a big one. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you what we're all about.
Welcome to the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. On this channel, we bring you some great content from inside and outside of the squared circle. We will go through and offer some in-depth analysis of the biggest events of the year, as well as bringing you exclusive interviews with some of the industry's biggest names. There will also be live show reviews, in-depth features, and podcasts. So make sure you give that subscribe button a slam so you don't miss any of the action.
All right, and there is a lot of action on this channel. So again, if you haven't already, please subscribe. Now, we are just about kind of getting underway. We've got the pre-show kicking off now. As I mentioned earlier on, we've got the Kabuki Warriors versus Indy Hartwell and Candice LeRae. I do feel, as I mentioned, that this is an opportunity to kind of give Bayley a bit of a spotlight as well. Now, we'll treat this as a bit of a watch-along for the pre-show. So thank you, everyone that's joining us and watching it right now. We do have the classic kind of WWE setup in a stadium where you've got these kind of pillars around the outside with LED screens on. And it's looking good, guys. It is looking good. The stadium, it's not quite filled up just yet, but it looks pretty good. Now, the Australian crowd are going to be ready for it, man. I mean, the other year we had, what was it? Super Showdown or whatever it was called. I really enjoyed that show. And I really liked when WWE were having these kind of network specials. This kind of feels like that, but it's disguised as the PLE. It feels these are glorified house shows, like Crown Jewel has been. But in recent years, Crown Jewel has really cemented itself as far as kind of as being part of the main calendar, and I'm one to talk here in London. We had Money in the Bank, kind of taking the position of a big PLE, and I got to be honest though, it felt like it was built better, and it felt like it actually slotted into the time frame a little bit better as well. Now we're looking at the pre-show again, and when it zooms out, it does look pretty busy. Middle and upper tier still got a few fans to come in, but that lower tier, especially with that hard cam shot just there, looking pretty good. Now, guys, don't forget, at the end of the PLE, we're going live as well to talk about what we think of the show itself. Oh, interesting kind of combination there from Indy and Candice LeRae. But we're going to be coming back again straight after the show ends. We're going to be live talking about the show itself. And will there be kind of twists and turns for WrestleMania? We'll have to see. It's an interesting time, the Chamber. It always has the potential to throw a spanner in the works. Will we see that tonight? I say tonight. I keep saying tonight. Today. So the clock's come up on the pre-show as well. We've got 18 minutes and 40 seconds left. Only one pre-show match. And I'm glad. We were talking about this in our group chat with the other guys. Of course, usually we would see Dan, Lucas, and Rob with me as well. Sadly, couldn't join me this morning. But we were having a little bit of a chat about kind of pre-shows and how they've just become talk shows, which is a real shame. I know it's a bit of a stain you could see if you're a wrestler and you're told you're on the pre-show. Not great, but imagine being told you're not on the show at all. And that's what's been going on for the past year. It's other than WrestleMania and these international shows, we don't have matches on the pre-show. And again, I think it's a real shame. So an opportunity now to kind of slot in hometown gal, so to speak, with Indy Hartwell. And, of course, the Kabuki Warriors. Now, again, this is an opportunity to kind of... I wasn't sure if they were saying we want Bailey there. I was just trying to listen in. But this is an opportunity, again, to bring in Bailey. So, Kabuki Warriors in control at the moment. But guys, let us know what you think is going to happen tonight, wherever you are in the world. Would love to hear your thoughts on this PLE as it kind of draws a little bit closer. As we mentioned earlier on, this is the build-up show. We get yourself and ourselves in the mood for the PLE by kind of previewing it and talking all the latest rumors. Now, there isn't much going on. I'll be honest, not a lot going on as far as rumors and stuff like that. I do think there is opportunity here to kind of bring The Rock in. I know he did that promo of like, The Rock won't be there, but is that a twist? Is that a twist? I mean, he's showing up on random SmackDowns, so you can never really tell. So it's all been Kabuki Warriors so far, guys. And my prediction again was for the Kabuki Warriors to win so that they can start pummeling on the baby faces. But there's also a scenario where the baby faces win because the Kabuki Warriors are trying to heal it up and Bailey helps them or something like that. Or maybe not. Maybe just the again hometown gal getting a pop, which she's about to get, it feels like, because Candice LeRae is about to make the hot tag. There we go. And people were really behind it. It must feel amazing, you know, like to be in your home country on the PLE. And now, if you're in the States, you're a wrestler from the States, like it's not that unlikely, you know, like WWE tour the States quite often. If you are a up and coming wrestler, that is the goal, WWE. But if you're from somewhere outside of the States and further afield from Canada as well, let's just say away from North America, it's no guarantee that you're going to get anywhere near WWE. And then even if you do, to have a show in your home country is huge. And of course, there was that cruel irony, of course, when Emma tweeted that she was excited about the PLE, and then hours later was let go. Real shame of that. But we do still have a few Australians on the roster. Again, Indy Hartwell, Bronson Reed, where we see him tonight. It was kind of shocking to not see him enter the Elimination Chamber. But again, as Dan mentioned a few days ago, maybe busy in his personal life. So, again, I don't know what the status of that is. Hopefully we'll see him tonight because it'll be a nice moment for him. And then, of course, beyond that, the mega star herself of Rhea Ripley, an unbelievable talent who just happens to be Australian. This whole PLE is in some ways built around her, right? It's unbelievable the star power that Rhea Ripley's got. They've really kind of lucked out in that sense. All right. Oh, bit of old school it seemed there, but Kyrie knocked Candice and Indy down. Kabuki Warriors back in control. It didn't last long for the baby faces. The heels are back in control. Insane elbow coming up. Great elbow. 1, 2. Wow, that was kind of easy. Not great. Not great. The only thing to save it, surely, is a beatdown and Bailey coming out. But don't look like we're getting that either. Now, again, pre-show matches, you just sometimes just need them, warm the crowd up. Don't get me wrong, but I felt like this one here was an opportunity to do something beyond that, leading towards WrestleMania. So, not great. Not that the match weren't good, don't get me wrong, but I just think missing that opportunity is not great. Well, that is it for the pre-show match. We've still got 11 minutes before the PLE kicks off itself. And nice little round of applause now for Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell. I'm shocked there. I mean, I predicted Kabuki Warriors to win. So there we go. I got my point at least. But I did think it was because there might be something else going on. But anyway, we are, again, just minutes away from the PLE itself, and we are going to be hitting you in a moment with our watch-along stream. So if you haven't already, please subscribe we are going to wrap up here very soon on our build-up show, and we'll be coming back with our watch-along stream. So if you're watching the show, hey, stick with us. I aim to be your kind of third commentator. Is that what's going on? Is it a three-man booth? There we go. I'll be your third guy, let you know what I think of the show overall, and then after that we'll be hitting you with the instant reaction review as well. So if you don't want to hear me blabbering along through the matches, then you can come back later on and just hear my thoughts overall of the show itself. But yeah, big show to preview, and it's been a really enjoyable stream, guys. I really hope you've enjoyed yourself. Again, we've got the Women's Championship. Spoiler alert, Rhea Ripley's winning that one. We've got the tag titles, which I think would make a lot of sense if the Judgment Day came out of it on top again. And of course, we haven't really touched too much on the chambers themselves, but I'm going to be talking about that during the watch-along stream. We've got the women's #1 contendership and the men's #1 contendership. We mentioned earlier on as well, Grayson Waller effect. That's going to be interesting, whether or not it turns into a match. I think surely it will. But then again, I predicted that Bayley was going to make the save on the pre-show, and that didn't happen either. So maybe I'm completely off this morning. Again, it is a weird time for us in the UK. Maybe that's kind of played with my predicting mind there. But anyway, I've been Scott. Thank you so much for joining us on the build-up show. Really hope it's helped kind of get you in the mood for the PLE. We are going to be back very quickly. If you haven't already, subscribe and head to our channel. You'll see our PLE watch-along stream in the show notes as well. So stick with us, guys. We'll see you in a moment.
Welcome to the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. On this channel, we bring you some great content from inside and outside of the squared circle. We will go through and offer some in-depth analysis of the biggest events of the year, as well as bringing you exclusive interviews with some of the industry's biggest names. There will also be live show reviews, in-depth features, and podcasts. So make sure you give that subscribe button a slam so you don't miss any of the action.